Hi, my name is Aaron, this is my show Reeducation, and boys need a daddy. I'm sure that's not going to get taken out of context at all. But it's true. Boys really do need a daddy. Some strong male figurehead in their lives that can help teach them how to do things like change a tire or start a fire. Someone they can look up to. Someone they can aspire to be. Not some sort of king or dictator that you have to try to appease as though they're your leadership or they're your master. Someone that can teach you things, that can be there for you, that can help support you when you're in need. Those sorts of things are necessary, and you don't necessarily have to be a biological male to fulfill those roles. You don't have to have a penis dangling between your legs to project those sorts of things. But those sorts of roles in our society can be important and have been beneficial to many people. Of course, it's not going to suit everybody. Nothing will. But for the most part, it's important to have both parents in the home. It doesn't just take both parents either. It takes an entire village to raise a child. You need to have that strong family unit, something that we've had taken away from us throughout the years for several different reasons. And even Natalie Wynn from the channel ContraPoints has stated similar things in the past. She even said that we're lacking that strong male role model in our lives. And I tend to agree. We just don't have these role models like we did in the past. So the only obvious solution is that we need to find a strong male role model for all of these disaffected young boys out there who need one. And it just so happens that I think that I might have a plan on how to solve that. So if everybody is lacking that strong male role model, someone has to fill that role. And I think that it just could be me. Right? I mean, like, who better to do it than the guy that you're watching right now? I mean, I can't personally have kids, not because of any biological reason, mostly because I just fucking despise children, but I can be your daddy for at least a few minutes. Isn't that wonderful? I think I got just the thing. You know what? Hang on one second. All right there, Slugger. Now take a knee, because we're going to have a powwow about all them cats in the cradles and those silver spoons. You know, I actually like this. This is going to work. But to really get into character, I have to do one thing. Look up some dad jokes online. Ah, here we are. 99 funniest dad jokes. This should be perfect. You know what? To start things off, why don't I just give you one of the best ones? You know, French fries weren't actually made in France. They were made in Greece. God, that's not funny. None of this is funny. Why did I do that? This is horrible. Oh my God, I can't believe. Okay, but all jokes aside, at least I can still be your daddy. It's not like anybody else is going to be able to take that role.
You do your balls, you get down there, then it's just doodle-doo, one armpit, doodle-doo, one armpit, done. No shower for a man should be more than 1 minute long.
So what do you need me to do?
I need you to film me giving a bunch of life lessons to my unborn son.
The thing about bullies is they're always going to be there.
How do I fight? Let me show you.
Look at my shirt. It's totally spotless. Fuck your shirt.
Oh, God damn it, are you fucking serious? There's already somebody out there trying to do this shtick. Doesn't he realize that trying to be everyone's daddy was my idea? Who the hell is this guy anyway? Gavin McInnes? I never heard of him. He sounds like some sort of douchebag that would work at Vox or Vice or something. Oh, he did? Oh, gross. Well, that does explain a lot, but why does he think that he gets claim on being everyone's daddy? That's my thing. And who the hell does he think he is with his hipster beard and his thick-rimmed glasses and his button-up shirts? The guy looks like a total... Oh. Har, 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 har. Very funny. But at least I actually try to do something, like tell people how they can change the system.
3 deal breakers. You don't fuck with my family, you don't fuck with a man's home, and you don't fuck with a man's job. Totally behind quitting masturbating and quitting porn. Call it hashtag no wanks. The 10 ways to save America. Abolish prison, give everyone a gun, legalize drugs, end welfare, close the borders, outlaw censorship, venerate the housewife, glorify the entrepreneur, recognize the West is the best. Ideally, number 10, shut down the fucking government.
Well, that was gross, and would probably take an entire video to explain on its own, but maybe this Gavin guy really does have something going on here. Maybe I actually have to pay attention to him and look into this a little bit further. And it says here on this piece of paper that I certainly didn't prepare before this video that he's the leader of something called the Proud Boys, an alt-right drinking club that involves themselves in anti-communism and neo-fascism. It's basically a gang that's fashioned after a college fraternity, a He-Man women's hating club in the same vein as the Order of the Water Buffalo from the Flintstones, or those weirdos that drank dog cum from Van Wilder. It's something that Gavin likes to do with his Proud Boy gang, is give everybody a very simple, very easy to understand worldview. He's basically trying to take men back to a time when boys could be boys, and they could sit around in groups talking about things that they would only joke about with their friends inside their living rooms. A kind of safe space for white men. But along with this idealized sense of nostalgia and bringing men back to their primal roots, it's cloaking all of these other aspects underneath, such as xenophobia, hatred, bigotry, and sexism, all things that the Proud Boys hold in high regard. They call themselves Western chauvinists, as though the West is the best, and there can be no other country or continent or people group that are any better. Like I said, basically neo-fascism. Of course, all of this talk about fathers and father figures reminds me of my little cousin when they came up to me the other day and asked me for a bookmark. And I just shook my head because I couldn't believe that after 11 years, he still doesn't understand that my name's not Mark. Not funny! So not funny! God damn it. But it is true that a lot of us actually do need that male figurehead, like I was saying at the beginning of the video. We need that person that we can look up to and aspire to be. We need that person that can help guide us. And to a lot of the people that follow Gavin McInnes, they see those sorts of roles diminishing or completely disappearing in modern society. People like John Wayne or Arnold Schwarzenegger, who used to be seen as these masculine, manly men who everybody should aspire to, are now seen as problematic or toxic because they solve a lot of their problems with violence. And of course, yes, solving most of your problems with violence is definitely toxic. But it's certainly not the only role that men play in society. Men can be caregivers, they can be helpful, they can be strong and beneficial in many different ways. Ideas like masculinity and femininity are constantly being questioned, and those lines blurred with our understanding and our grasp of those concepts, thanks to non-binary and trans people finally becoming more accepted. But it leaves men, specifically cis white men, in a situation where they don't really know where they stand anymore. It's true that if you watch any commercial in the media, you're always going to see the husband character played as some big, dumb, bumbling oaf, and their wife always being this perfect, pristine, genius-level individual that can solve any problem as long as they buy this certain product. That's just the way that neoliberalism is. That's the way the capitalist structure has become. And though a lot of these white people, these white men, are watching these depictions of individuals similar to themselves in the media as being bumbling oafs, they are internalizing this and feeling as though they are actually being oppressed, and that they're the ones that, oh my God, could be partly marginalized. But the truth is that we're all marginalized in this system. The truth is that every individual within this entire structure is taken advantage of or exploited in some way. It doesn't matter whether or not you're black, white, Hispanic, or Chinese. The truth is that we are all marginalized in this system to suit the status quo. It's something that constantly happens. And even though the projection is that these white men see all of these other racial groups being elevated to a higher standing, they feel as though they are being stripped of all of their abilities and stripped of all of their power. But it's all just a smokescreen under this capitalist illusion. Sure, some select individuals out of each racial group will get to win the capitalism lottery and get boosted to the top of the power structure, but that's just all that it is a fucking lottery, which inherently means the majority of people are going to lose. It's just another way to make us all think as though we all stand a chance to get to the top and become those millionaires and those billionaires and those leaders. But really, you don't. You can't solve racism by elevating a few people while disparaging the rest. Oprah Winfrey or Shaquille O'Neal don't solve racism because they're rich. The only way to do that is through fixing the systemic problems that put them there. Why am I still wearing a baseball glove? I'm gonna keep doing it. I like it. It's fatherly. I'm a father figure, guys. I'm a father figure. See, I am the internet's daddy. I can even catch this without looking. How much of a daddy is that? And I'll tell you, a little aside from the middle of this. While I was recording this video, I actually had to help somebody change a flat tire because they just so happened to have popped their tire out front of my house. So that's interesting, and I was already dressed for it. I was ready to go. So how wonderful is that? Mass incarceration is forcing fathers out of the home. The drug epidemic is tearing apart families. Capitalist recession and the looming threat of climate change is destroying the will, crushing the soul, and emptying the pockets of hardworking men everywhere. And the cost of living has risen so much that even hardworking men who want to take care of their families are unable to do it alone. Of course, we have to deal with these problems throughout all of Western society, even in Switzerland. You know, I was asked one time what the best part about Switzerland was, and I said that I really don't know, but the flag is a big plus. God, that's not funny. None of these are funny. Fuck's sakes. Putting aside the obvious problem of traditional gender roles, there's no question that this capitalist system has forced women into the workforce, doubling the workload on every single family, creating more stress and less time to be with your kids, to be with your family, to be with your loved ones, or to spend time with friends. We're constantly being alienated and isolated into tiny little boxes, never being allowed to associate with each other, always being forced to work in that cubicle without any sign of ever stopping. Even in your old age, you're expected to continue working without ever seeing any sort of retirement that your parents or your grandparents once did. It's not that the left has destroyed what it means to be a man. The system has done a fantastic job of that for us. We've just reevaluated it. We've analyzed it. We've discussed it. We've come to conclusions. And we've decided that certain things make sense and certain things don't. We no longer have to have these traditional gender roles in the same manufactured way that we've always had them. We look at traditional gender roles such as masculinity and femininity, and we've decided that those aren't exclusive to the genitals that you have dangling between your legs. You can be both, or neither, or one of the other. It's not that big of a deal. You're a dynamic, sophisticated individual who can be all sorts of things on this planet, and we don't have to relegate ourselves to one specific way of doing things. If you're born with a penis, you don't have to buy all blue toys. That's just not something that needs to happen. And if you see a robbery at an Apple store, does that make you an eyewitness? Okay, I gotta stop. Not funny. Fuck, why am I doing this to myself? The problem that we continue to recycle, the line that we constantly repeat, is that masculinity is somehow toxic. But that couldn't be further from the truth. The honest truth is that the elites have made certain aspects of humanity toxic, and they labeled that as masculine so they could create a smokescreen that allowed you to believe that what they were doing was somehow inherent to human nature. But it's not. Not all male behavior is toxic. Of course, solving all of your problems with violence certainly is toxic, but standing up for what you believe in, fighting for the downtrodden, or protecting your family, those are great things. Being courageous in the face of danger, solving problems with your mind instead of your fist, turning the other cheek when necessary, but standing up to your problems head on when you need to. Those sorts of things are great ideas. Those sorts of things are what it means to be a man. These are the things that define masculinity, not drinking and punching communists. That doesn't make you a man. That makes you a petulant child. You can't make change. You can't fix the system. You can't even fix yourself if you believe that the only way to do things is to climb into the bottom of a bottle and get into fucking fist fights. Gavin really believes that he's showing men how to be masculine all over again. But whether or not he realizes it, all this is just fascism in disguise. Blaming minorities and immigrants for all of your problems don't solve those problems. It only compounds them. And supporting the system like the Proud Boys do only makes things worse. The Proud Boys are actually a fairly interesting group. They spawned not only from fascism and conservatism, but neoliberal capitalism as well. Because in a liberal society, we blame the individual for a societal problem. And therefore, we've blamed all men for a problem that was created by the system, that was perpetuated by the elites. And that's just something that we can't stand to do anymore. That's just something that we have to eliminate. The Proud Boys fit a certain niche. They fit a certain category. They fill a role. But that role could be easily filled if we didn't have this system constantly taking away everything that it is to be not just a man, not just a woman, not just anything else, but to be a human as well. And that's something that needs to change. And it's something that we can work together to change ourselves. At least, that's the way I look at it. If you do get a chance, please check out my Patreon. Every dollar does help fund this show. And who's your daddy? Thanks for watching. Why did I say that? God damn it. You know what? I was just kidding. That was all a front. The real way to prove that you're actually a man is to do this. Oh, I am the very model of a modern major general. I've information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England, and I quote the flights historical, from Marathon to Waterloo in order categorical. I'm very well acquainted too with matters mathematical. I understand equations both the simple and quadratical. About binomial theorem I am teeming with a lot of news. With many cheerful facts about the square of the hypotenuse. If you see a robbery at an... this one isn't funny either.